Hi, this is Mike from DraftBuddy.com, and this is the first screencast video I've done for DraftBuddy Fantasy Football version for the 2014 season. In this demo, I'm going to use Projection Pal. I had an email from a customer, Jason, who is in a Dynasty League, and he asked me, can I use DraftBuddy for a Dynasty League? Well, of course, you can use it to track your draft, but the only catch is we don't have Dynasty-specific rankings. In DraftBuddy, we have, of course, redraft projections, and the cheat sheets are generated off those numbers. So, you may want to adjust the rankings for your Dynasty League. And then one thing I got to think of is, why don't we import some rankings from a great Dynasty fantasy football website and use those for the cheat sheets, and then you can use that as your starting point for your Dynasty League startup draft. The Dynasty rankings I'm thinking about come from dynastyleaguefootball.com. So if you guys haven't checked out this website, you're in Dynasty League, definitely check it out. And here are the Dynasty running back rankings. So what we're going to do is get these rankings into DraftBuddy using Projection Pal, and then the cheat sheets in DraftBuddy, which are right over here on the Offense tab, are going to be based on those rankings. And I've already done the quarterbacks, actually. So you can see here the quarterback rankings. Maybe I should zoom in a little bit here. Let me make this 150. You can see Aaron Rodgers is number 1. Peyton Manning is down here number 11. Okay, and Drew Brees is down a little bit due to age. Matt Stafford is up at 4. Andrew Luck is number 2. Tom Brady's down here at 14. So these match the rankings that I found right over here, the Dynasty QB rankings at dynastyleaguefootball.com. Let me scroll down a little bit. Rodgers, Luck, Newton, Stafford, Brees, Brady down at 14. Now you're wondering how I did this. We're doing a few different things here. Projection Pal got the rankings into DraftBuddy, but you can see the fantasy points here are out of order. And the reason for that is because the fantasy points are still being calculated based on the redraft projections that are in DraftBuddy. So what we need to do here is just base the rankings on the cheat sheets off of the DFL rankings. And what I did is I put them in the custom fields. Okay, so if I go over to the quarterback tab, and this is fairly small, so I'll bump this up as well. If I go over the quarterback tab, scroll over to the far right, you will see I put a heading in here, DFL rankings, and here are the rankings right here imported with Projection Pal from the DFL website. Okay, and instead of DraftBuddy ordering these players based on the projected fantasy points, which are right over here. Okay, you can see $3.99 up here for Rodgers, but Peyton Manning is $4.34, but he's not first. I told DraftBuddy to do that using the custom fields. That is found on the custom scoring tab, right up here. Let me bump this up again. Okay, and you see under quarterback custom fields, I put in this is where I put the heading in, DFL rankings, and I changed ranking from 0, which is the default, to 1A. And what 1A means is first priority ranking, ascending. Okay, means less is better. So a 1, if it's a 1 in there, I want that person ranked first. If there's a 2, I want that person ranked second. Hopefully I'm not going too fast here, but there are a lot of moving parts, and why don't I demonstrate with the running backs, and then maybe that'll be a little more clear. All right, first thing we need to do is actually get these rankings, the running backs, in a Projection Pal, and then from there into DraftBuddy. Okay, so here are the running back rankings that they've got. McCoy, Charles, Giovanni Bernard, number 3, Doug Martin, 4, Eddie Lacy, 5, Adrian Peterson down at 6. So you can see this is the Dynasty perspective. All right, you got to adjust players who are older and have less of a lifespan in the NFL, move them down your rankings. Okay, pretty straightforward there. So here's my copy of Projection Pal right here. This is the quarterback tab. This is where I pulled in the quarterback rankings. Now we're going to do the same thing with the running back rankings. Okay, this is the default stuff in Projection Pal from the running backs. I'm going to copy over this material right here. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these rankings. Okay, and what you do is try to carefully highlight them. I'm just going to copy them in. I know there's the feature to pull the stuff in over the web. Doesn't always work with a lot of websites. It probably worked pretty well with this website. It's fairly clean, but at the same time, often just go right to the copy paste. So I've highlighted all the rankings there. Control C or Command C on a Mac to copy. Go over to Excel. Click the very first cell right here. Okay, and then Control V or Command V to paste them in. Okay, and hopefully they paste in fairly clean, and they did. Okay, now a couple things we need to do here. We need to change the headings at the top and make this a little bit bigger. Okay. One thing to note here is we have the rankings to the left of the player names, okay, which is not what we need. What we need are the rankings to the right of the player names, because the way PAL puts the stuff in Draft Buddy is it searches by, it looks it up by player name and then grabs the data, all the data that's on the right. Okay. Now a lot of the stuff we don't need. All right. The headings. First, let's change the heading here to first name, last name, which is great because that is exactly how we have it in Draft Buddy, the names formatted. All this other stuff over here, they have age, they have age, we already have that in Draft Buddy. Team, we already have that in Draft Buddy. They have last year's stats, that's already in Draft Buddy. They have rankings based on their individual contributors at DLF. We don't really need that. We're going to go with the composite rankings here. So all of this other stuff is going to be other, okay? Meaning we don't want it in Draft Buddy. So just I copied other over here. I'm going to paste it across all these other headings. Okay, I can even paste special as values just so it comes up other. Okay, and the one thing I did mention though is these rankings here, I need them to the right of the player names. All right, so I'm going to move, this is just a little bit of manipulation of the data to quickly move the stuff around the way you need it, so PAL can get it into Draft Buddy the way we want. All right, I'm going to shift, highlight all of this, 1 to 100. They have 100 running backs ranked for us, which is great. Move it over, paste special as values right there. Okay, and then this is the column that we want PAL to put into Draft Buddy. All right, so I'm going to change this to Custom 1. All right, because that's where I want to put it. I don't want to put specific projections into Draft Buddy this time. I'm putting strictly rankings. And we need to change some of our options up here. So it's the first row, first player is in row 1. Last row is 100, 100 players. I am not putting in projections. I am putting in custom field 1. So I uncheck projections, check custom field 1. Okay, since these names are already first name, last name, we should see right away this stuff come over here. Okay, so I look at the RB Clean tab, okay, and we're already seeing that this data is properly filtering into the Custom 1 tab, and this is what's going to go into Draft Buddy. Now if you scroll down a little bit, you're like, oh, well, why is a player so high on this list and he's got an NA here, it's not working? Okay, probably the name doesn't match up. Let's say in some cases, when you hit the copy to compiler button, and I really should change that to copy to Draft Buddy, it will adjust the names as appropriate, or for common misspellings or common differences. In this case, I'm not sure it's going to. Okay, this is CJ Spiller. Clearly, he should be within our top 100 Dynasty running backs, but his ranking is not coming over here. And why is that? Because CJ Spiller that we have in Draft Buddy, he's got the 2 dots between the C and the J. If I look over here and find him on this list, he does not. Okay? Easy fix. Just click on his name, adjust his name, put the dots in so it matches Draft Buddy. Okay, and now the ranking is right there. Okay? Now the time is to hit copy to compiler. Okay? I'm going to hit this. Now PAL is working on its thing. Okay? It's finding the Draft Buddy file. It is putting the data into Draft Buddy, okay, on the RB tab. Yeah, so it dropped us in Draft Buddy at the end, so it shows that the data is transferred over. Okay, it's put it in the custom field exactly where we want it. Custom, well, it was custom 1. I changed the heading to DLF ranking, and you know, we can see our McCoy's number 1, Charles number 2, Adrian Peterson number 6, Arian Foster down at 19. Okay, now what hasn't happened yet is have these rankings impact the cheat sheets, because I haven't done anything with the data I changed in Draft Buddy. All right, we can still see here these are based on the this is our cheat sheet on the offense tab. These are still based purely on the fantasy points, which are for the 2014 season. Okay, Charles 1, McCoy 2, Adrian Peterson 3. Okay, so you know, simple enough. This is where the custom fields come in. Okay, we're basically done with Projection Pal at this point. It's done its job for the running backs. You would just repeat the exact same thing for the wide receivers, for the tight ends, and whatever other position you wanted to pull in terms of Dynasty rankings or other type of rankings from other websites. All right, but at this point, I'm just worried about the quarterbacks and running backs for this demonstration. I go back to Draft Buddy, and I want to see my cheat sheet updated for the Dynasty rankings. Okay, like I said, I've already got the quarterbacks. Running backs are not impacted. So I go to the Custom Scoring tab. All right, and I had already changed this, so the ahead of time. The heading, DLF rankings. This is really just a heading. It doesn't, you know, change anything. It's just kind of a reminder. It just filters over to the running back tab right here. Okay, and back here, this is where the magic comes in. All right, under the ranking section, I changed this from 0 as the default. You can see down here for wide receivers, it's still 0, and it changed it to 1A. Okay, meaning basically telling Draft Buddy, when you are creating the cheat sheets, look at the custom field first, rank the players by that, and then afterwards rank by the fantasy points. Okay, when it comes to these custom scoring options, you know, you really have two choices. It's either the rank, you're changing the ranking, or you're inputting additional fantasy point scoring to the other fantasy points that are being calculated based on our regular scoring tab and the projections that are already in Draft Buddy. Okay, but I'm just going to change this to 1A, and now go to the Action tab. You know, as I say to everyone I talk to about using Draft Buddy, anytime you change any of the rules, the scoring, custom scoring, options, stats, or projections, anything that impacts the cheat sheets, if you want to see that change impacted on the cheat sheets, you need to hit Compile Cheat Sheets. Okay, so I'm going to hit that. Okay, it's going to run through its whole process again to update the cheat sheets, update the other tabs in Draft Buddy for this particular league. And by the time this is done, we should see on our offense tab that the running backs are reordered based on the Dynasty rankings from Dynasty League Football. Okay, so it shot us over the offense cheat sheet, means it's done that process. And let's check our rankings. It looks like it did it right. So it's got McCoy and Charles number 1 and 2, Giovanni Bernard number 3, Adrian Peterson number 6. We have successfully copied rankings in from another website with Projection Pal into Pal, got those into Draft Buddy, and re-ranked our cheat sheets based on those. The one thing you'll notice, however, is the tiers are probably going to be messed up, because the tiers are based purely on the fantasy points calculated by Draft Buddy. But you know, notice the stuff here is this is not formulas. Okay, this is all static data now, created from the compile cheat sheets function. So you can change these. All right. So if you feel that, you know, go look at the quarterbacks, if Rodgers and Luck should both be in tier 1, then just change the 2 here to a 1, and then it should automatically update the tiers. Okay, it did right there. So now the tier line is underneath Andrew Luck. But this gives us a great start in terms of doing a Dynasty League draft and adjusting the rankings and pulling the rankings in from another website. So I'll sign off now, and hopefully you enjoyed that video using Projection Pal and using the custom fields at the same time.